Hey, welcome to Loose Change. Still better than the after party. Well, some. Hi, I'm Jim Evans. Thanks for joining us, and you'll be so glad you did because we have a very, very special show, and it's great to be back and see you. Greg, Happy New Year. Great to see you as well. Everything all right? Going all right? Good deal. Of course, you can catch Greg on Street Scene right here on Armstrong. I like when you guys do the panel thing. It looks like Hollywood Squares. You're the moderator, aren't you? No, it's really cool. You know, the last time we were here was last June. That's the last show we shot. And I got to admit, since that time, the pressure has really been building on me. Because right after that show, I went out and I got this sport jacket. And Renner Center's been calling me every week trying to get it back since. So I got to get busy on that. Hey, positive news for Youngstown last year. You may have heard this, Greg, I don't know. Youngstown was named the most affordable city in the country to live. It was also named the #1 city to retire to in Ohio. And again, the criteria was the cost of living. It also mentioned our parks, recreation, Mill Creek Park, our great food and restaurants. And on top of all that, there's always someone out there around here that can tell you, don't worry about it. I know a guy. We got that guy, right? Well, as of the taping of this show, we had a really mild winter up until the taping of this show. Man, we get hit with an Arctic blast. It is cold.
How cold is it, Jim?
It's so cold that it feels like it was minus 15 at the Five Below store. Wow, that's cool. I always look for unusual stories in the news, and you may have heard this as well. Last year, actor Al Pacino had another child, another kid, a baby, and he's 83 years old. And after I thought about it, well, you know what, who better to play the leading role in the sequel, A Scent of a Diaper? So, he's got that going. I hope everyone had a great holiday, Christmas and New Year's, and quality time with family and friends. Unfortunately, I missed out on my day hustle Christmas party. I heard they had a terrific time. Everyone just had a blast here. I have some video of that. Take a look at this. Whoa, too much Zima. I think, man, was that Jen? No, it wasn't Katie. It wasn't Kelsey or Missy or Mimi or Nikki. It was Sydney. That's who it was. You know, from that point there, the energy level built to this huge exchange of holiday goodwill and cheer. Check this out. Yeah, they're getting after it, that's for sure. I really missed out. They like to cut loose at the deuce. Hey, don't you cut away. Coach Mike Pavlansky is going to join us next here on Loose Change. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Loose Change. I'm Jim Evans, and I have the great pleasure and privilege to be joined by the gentleman to my right. This is kind of unusual for me to say right now, former retired Canfield head football coach, Mike Pavlansky. Coach, great to see you, and thanks for coming in.
Jim, great to see you. Appreciate you inviting me in.
I got to get used to this. You know, this is a different path for you now. We'll get into that here and talk about it all. But I remember when you made the announcement, hearing it in the media and everything, you said it was the right time. And was it something that you had planned previously, or this just kind of came to this point and you said, here we are?
No, you know, obviously through my career, you always pay attention to, you know, people getting in the business, getting out of the business. And, you know, they say, you know, it usually starts about 3 or 4 years beforehand. And it did about 3 or 4 years ago, driving to the stadium early in the morning. You know, I get to the stadium, I just thought to myself, how many more years can I do this? and it very quickly went away. This past summer it was a little bit more prevalent, and then after the season we had, sat down after that week getting beat by Ursuline, and just woke up one morning and having a coffee, and it just felt like the right time. I've enjoyed my time in Canfield, but it's time for somebody else to take the reins.
Was it a difficult decision?
Not necessarily. It was difficult. It was very emotional telling our staff.
Yes,
I didn't think it would be, but it got to be very emotional. It was emotional telling our players that Tuesday morning. When they came in, our administration allowed me to have a few-minute meeting with them, and that got more emotional than I thought it would be. It kind of surprised me, but obviously, anyone would tell you when you pour your heart and soul into something, for 20-some years, obviously if there's no emotions leaving, then maybe it wasn't as important to you as you thought it was.
Yeah, and not to downplay any other sports, team sports, but football is unique, and boy, you get galvanized in that locker room and out on the practice field with your coaches and players. It's there's more of an attachment.
You certainly spend a lot of time. There's no doubt about that, and those are things I'm going to miss the most.
Yeah.
People asked about Friday nights. Yeah, you'll miss Friday nights, but what I'm going to miss the most is the things that led up to Friday night.
That's right.
And the practices and seeing our guys at 2:45 every afternoon in the weight room for a team meeting, and then kidding around in the locker room, and then you get to your staff room and having some good arguments, and then just talking about good times, like when you win a game that maybe people didn't think you should win, and you find a way to have your kids pull it off, to celebrate that. Those are things that we're going to miss.
41 total years coaching?
41 total.
For those who don't know, you give us a brief rundown on your coaching resume.
Started in 1983 at Poland High School as a freshman coach for Mel Klingler.
Coach Klingler.
So 2 years at Poland, 1 year as a graduate assistant at the University of Kansas for Mike Gottfried. Then I got hired at Lisbon High School and coached for Mike Ward for 2 years, became the head coach for 2 years. Went to Menor in 1990 as a defensive coordinator for Dick Kirschbaum. And then in 94 was fortunate to be named the head coach. And then in 97, came back to Canfield, coached with Tony Ross for 4 years as an assistant. And then when he retired, then I took over in 2001.
And the rest is history. I mean, you've had such a tremendous run. And you already touched on one of the questions I was going to ask, what you really enjoyed about coaching. And I know you've talked before, as other coaches do, and it's the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's just, you get to meet a group as a freshman, really for us in 7th grade, and then follow them all the way through. But when they get to the high school as freshmen and get into our weight program like they are right now, and as inexperienced as they are in the weight room, you're finding ways to show them they're having success every day. Because they're looking at the seniors that are throwing all types of weight around. And they're thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to compete? You'll compete. It's just going to take time. These guys had 3 years in front of you. Before you start lifting here, you're going to be just fine. But to see the growth that they have from the freshman year to the time they graduate, those are special times.
And you've talked about this before, as have other coaches, just experiences I've had being around. It's that the sport at this level is not. It is about competing, it's about winning, but there's so much more that goes into it, and making these boys and the young men and take lessons into life.
That's absolutely. You want to teach. That's the most important thing, Jim. There's no doubt. And we've always believed that if you teach, the right lessons that help them grow as young men, winning on the field becomes easier. And that's being disciplined in your life, being disciplined in the classroom, working as hard as possible in your best classes, in the class you least like, doing the best. And not everybody has to be an A student. I certainly wasn't an A student. My guidance counselor said, you got to go to college. She goes, you can't even spell college. And so, here I am, 41 years later or whatever. But, we just asked them, to buy in. They pretty much have, as far as, doing the best that they can every day in every facet of their life, becoming a great teammate and getting involved in something bigger than yourself. And if you do that, winning is a byproduct of that, I really believe. And most coaches, I think, would say the same thing. And, being in Canfield, the one thing that, talking to our staff and our administration through the years, that we're just so, so blessed with is that we got great families, we got great kids, and we've always done it with Canfield kids. You wanted to go to school in Canfield, you wanted to play at Canfield, you had to live in Canfield.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're really proud of.
You've sent a lot of guys on to successful things, no doubt. And again, it's about becoming a good man and a citizen and husband and father and
Right.
all those things. But other things to look at are their careers. And we were just talking before we got going here about several of your guys that have made the NFL level, and you've had other people do really significant things, and it really has to make you feel
No
great.
doubt. No matter what vocation they've chosen to go into, you try and stay up with them and see how they're doing, and how their families are doing, and things like that, and their successes, and congratulate them on that. But it's neat that you started something, you played a small part in high school, one very, very small part. And hopefully get them on a path to being successful. And certainly the guys that are more, I want to say, media prone. The Frank Rosses, the Sean Bakers, things like that, because they're still involved in sports. We're very proud of them.
Absolutely, at the NFL level.
Absolutely,
that's really great for sure. I know you put all this time in. I'm sure the 41 years have flashed by.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I've talked to our staff. I see them in the hallways, and still, because the administration has allowed me to stay on and conduct lifting, with our kids in the off season until the new guy is named, doing recruiting with the college coaches coming in. I keep telling them, I just can't believe 41 years have gone this fast.
Absolutely.
And 23 at Canfield have gone this fast.
It's a year-round job, isn't it? At the high school level,
Yeah.
and you're not doing it for the money.
No.
So
no, not
man,
at the high
that's
school
something.
level. Right. It just it has become a year-round job, and more so because of we've made it a year-round job.
Right.
Nobody told us we had to work year-round.
Right.
But we've made it a year-round job, and there's 2 points in our program. We've asked our guys to get away, both players and staff, and that's 30 days after your final ball game. Just get away from it, and then the month of June. The month of June, we always called it family month. We encouraged our players' parents to take vacations in June. If they couldn't, they had to go in July. Then they went in July too, but they would miss out some things. But our coaches would always take those family vacations in June and just get away, recharge the batteries. But other than that, it's 10 months, and it's a grind, but it was a fun grind.
Oh, without a doubt, I'm sure. And being a head coach, it's not just about X's and O's and being out in the field. You have a lot of other things, other plates you have to juggle in that role.
Yeah, you do. And, as a head coach, those are expected.
Yeah.
You don't complain about them. I've been fortunate, our administration, to meet with them about academics. Our Gridiron Club, our booster club there, absolutely phenomenal. I was fortunate to be at Lisbon High School and had a great booster club there. Menor High School, largest school in the state, great booster club there. None finer than the Canfield Gridiron Club. There really isn't. And through the years, because those parents change, and they're always coming in with the same thing. How can we help our football players, our cheerleaders who are part of our Gridiron Club, to have a first-class experience? And we're certainly a lot better off today than we were in 2001, and so we're able to, financially better off, that we're able to offer more to our kids.
And I tell people this, the Friday nights in the fall, high school football, it doesn't get any better than that.
Absolutely.
Just what an experience, life experience it is.
It is. It's just, they always say it's the fastest 10 weeks of the year. And you're right. It just, when you start in August and you're getting up and trying to get the doubles, it doesn't seem real fast. But once you hit the first game and then hold on. And I always told our senior parents that. I said, listen, you think you got 10 games in front of you. You do, but it's going to go so fast. And, they always come back and say, that's the one true statement. Chase can't believe it's done and over with. But, the Friday nights in Northeast Ohio, college coaches that come in who aren't a part of Northeast Ohio, didn't grow up in Northeast Ohio, that have been charged with recruiting by their school here, they say the same thing. They can't believe how special football is placed in our area.
And I hear people talk about football on air, you brought home a state championship, and mostly from fans. Oh, we don't get as many state titles as we should, but we have great coaches in this area, and no matter if you run the table and take it the distance, even to get into postseason. Well, now it's expanded now, but people don't realize how difficult that is to get to that final game.
Absolutely,
it is really
it's
hard.
a grind, and it's difficult because each week you're playing a better opponent. We always say, who's the best opponent in the playoffs? It's the opponent you're playing that week. That may not be the case during the season.
Right.
You may have a team where it's going to be a mismatch, for whatever reason, injuries, youth, inexperience, going to be a mismatch. And we've been on both sides of that. But if you make the playoffs in the state of Ohio, especially in Region 9, my goodness, the first game, can be a regional final for you. Yeah. And then every game after that is more and more difficult.
We do have quality football and coaching in this area, without a doubt. That sticks out for me all the time. What makes a good coach in your mind?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Obviously somebody who's got to enjoy kids.
Yep.
I mean, that's all. You start there, and then for us in Canfield, the way we've always operated is let's be organized. Okay, we don't want to waste anybody's time. Yeah. Everybody's got 24 hours in a day. Don't be wasting their time by doing nothing. Let's be organized. Let's be students of the game. As coaches, like right now, we would be going out to clinics. And the great thing about the internet now, because of the COVID time period, we're able to get clinics on the internet. Mm-hmm. Sign up for them, okay? Purchase clinics that were done in the past. So let's learn. As we ask our kids to learn about the game, then let's learn ourselves to try and improve. And then, I think just work as hard as possible. Yep. Somebody's going to be bigger than you, somebody's going to be faster than you. We can always find that. Somebody's going to be smarter than the coach. We can always find that. But there's one thing that we always felt is that nobody should outwork us. And if we can do that, we may not win every Friday night, but it'll work out more times than not.
We're going to take a quick break. You can hang around.
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll be back with more with Coach Mike Pavlansky right after this.
Supercharge your internet. Only Zoom Extreme from Armstrong combines unlimited data with whole home Wi-Fi at the fastest speeds possible. Zoom Extreme from Armstrong.
Back with Coach Mike Pavlansky here on Loose Change. And Coach, having the opportunity to cover your games over the years, and one thing I noticed, it stood out to me each and every game. Your guys came out and played hard and played smart. Yeah. And that obviously was
appreciate that, Jim. Yeah. And,
tool for success.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be. If you're not playing hard, you're not going to win. If you're not playing smart, your chances of winning are going down. There's obviously games where people were better than us, but we made mental mistakes. But there's one thing that Canfield kid that I was really proud of. They always did. They always played hard. If they only saw you play one time, what impression do you want to leave with them? And the biggest compliment, the best compliment I think a team can ever get is that they play better than what they are. They play above their level. And I think our guys did that for a lot of the years.
You came in, they were always prepared, and you and your staff over the years too, one of the best in the area, making halftime adjustments.
Yeah. I appreciate that. It just, that comes from our kids. We go in and our halftime, our guys, they'll tell you, hey, the first 3 minutes the first 5 minutes are just the staff talking, okay? Then the next 5 minutes is defense. The next 5 minutes is offense, all right? And then you got 3 minutes before the officials come in to get you for the 17 minutes to go out 3-3. And, when we go in and talk to our kids, what's going on out there? What do you like? What don't you like? And we start making notes. Hey, Coach, we can attack 43. Okay, good. Yeah. Hey, this blitz is not working, Coach. We thought it would work. It's not working. Let's stay away from that. Okay, what coverages do you like? So a lot of that comes from our kids at halftime and the interactions our staff has with them before we go out to for the third quarter. And we always talk about the keys of a game. Every play is important. Every minute's important. Yes. But the first 4 minutes are important. The last 4 minutes of a half and the first 4 minutes of the third quarter, extremely important. And then do you win a fourth quarter in a close ball game?
Mm-hmm. We hear the word, culture a lot in football. Yeah. And you came on the scene, got the head position, and you really enhanced that culture from where it was at and raised the bar. This is there are teams and there are programs, and your whole thing comes out of that heading a program for sure.
Well, I appreciate that, Jimmy. Just took over for Tony Ross, who did a great job with the program.
Yep.
And the culture of we always talk about a C on the chest. Every time we design a jersey, a new uniform, there's going to be a C right in the middle of the chest. And the C doesn't just represent Canfield football. It represents the school. It represents the community. Okay, and it represents alumni no matter where they're at. And that's who we're going to play for, and that's who we represent. And we don't want to do anything that would detract from what they accomplished before we got there.
You've told me this, as have other coaches, and it's kind of obvious, but success as a head coach means you've got a lot of good people on your staff working around you over the years.
Absolutely. There's from the time I first got there till this past year, I've been fortunate to work with some of the best assistant coaches in the area. Guys who enjoyed kids, wanted to treat the kids the right way, guys who are knowledgeable and also knew they could learn more during the off season, spending time away from their families and their kids to go to clinics, to meet and talk about ways we can improve for the next season. Just been so fortunate, and obviously this last staff, because it's the most recent, was special. With Wally Hurley, our defensive coordinator, he was the head coach of the defense. That was one of the things.
Too,
yeah, absolutely. Just when you don't have to worry about a side of the football, oh my gosh, what a great relief it was for me anyway.
Sure.
Just concentrate on special teams, concentrate on offense, and go from there, because the defense was going to do their job. And Joe Ignazio, Cameron Terrashotti, Dan DiGiacomo, Ryan Scala offensively, Angelo Seminaro, line coach, who I think is the best line coach in the area, bar none. And Andrew Morchak, who played for us, and then Jason Morell and Matt Caulfield, wide receivers, Jim Placzynski as a running back coach. It's just been fortunate to be around good people, especially the final staff I was with.
Well, you've had so many great memories as the head coach there, for sure. I think back to the 2005 championship run to get to that game and a near miss in that final. And then before we got going here, you mentioned about 2015 when this latest run got going, and of course culminating in the 22 championship. Man, that's just special stuff.
Yeah, so many games, Jim. You don't want to point out one,
right?
But it is hard because there are just so many out there. But yeah, there's key points into a program, and obviously culminating in 2022, that day in Canton, and just that's a day that obviously we'll always remember. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about.
Oh, I'm sure.
Something that happened that day, that somebody says something, I'd look at my phone, I'm out in the weight room, there's a picture that doesn't remind you of that day and how special it was. But that didn't make the program. If we had never won a state title, I would still hope people would respect our program for who we were and how we conducted ourselves. But obviously winning that game, was pretty neat.
What coaches did you maybe take from along the way that really influenced your
obviously
game, so
the coaches you're around. Growing up with a dad that was a head coach and allowed us to be a part of his program. 6 years old, running around the practice field, from 7 a.m. until 4 p.m. every day in the summertime.
Yeah.
And just how my dad interacted with his coaches and the players, and then obviously his staff. And then in the collegiate level, obviously anybody in Northeast Ohio is going to talk about Coach Tressel and just how available he was, and the way he ran a program from afar. You looked and saw and said, okay, that's something we want to be a part of. And some of his great assistant coaches, Mark D'Antonio and Donnie Treadwell, and guys like that. And you pick and choose, and you watch, and you listen, and you do what's best for you, and because you can't be a Mel Klinger, a Dave Pavlansky, you can't be Mike Ward, you can't be Dick Kirschbaum, you can't be Jim Tressel, Mark D'Antonio, Donnie Treadwell. You got to be you, and but you pick and choose in what fits your personality.
Did you, when you got to that point in your life when you were younger, was it I'm going to be a teacher and I'm going to be a
Oh,
football
absolutely.
coach.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, when I was younger, there's no doubt. I knew at an early age I wanted to be a football coach. So now, how are you going to be a football coach? Well, you got to become a teacher. And I had a great history teacher in Jamie Dunn. And boy, I was enthralled in that class. It was a challenging class, but it was a class I truly, truly enjoyed. So I went to school to become a history major and get a teaching degree. Tried the college level. Nobody else in my family at that point had tried the collegiate level. My brother Dave went to Miami of Ohio the same year to be a graduate assistant. My brother Tom later on went to Colorado State to be a graduate assistant. So we dabbled into it. It just wasn't my personality to be a college coach. And I enjoyed it. To be honest with you, in Kansas, you were working on football during the season 16, 18 hours a day, but it wasn't a lifestyle I wanted to live. So I relied back on my teaching degree and ended up at Lisbon.
I was thinking about that. You have that wide range of experience being at a smaller school at Lisbon and then at the biggest school in the States. So you had a different viewpoint of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was able to do those because I was single at the time. I was able to move and didn't have to uproot anybody. And, I ended up in a spot where I felt fit my personality. And that's Canfield. That's a type of school in Poland I grew up in.
Right.
Mid-range school, not too small, not too large. And that was just, that to me, that was home. And, whether it be Poland, Canfield, or that type of school. And, obviously things worked out pretty well.
Boy, the Pavlansky name is just synonymous with excellence in football. You mentioned your dad and your brother Tom, who's done a great job over. You did at Lakeview and now at Poland.
Right.
I remember that night a few years ago when you opened up over there in celebration with your family, and that had to really be great.
That's one of those special nights, without a doubt. And I think Brian Banfield and the people of Poland did a tremendous job organizing that night and event. We had over 80 different family members from across the country come in to watch that game, and and then spend the weekend together. And the one thing I took away from that weekend was that usually people at our age, you see family members and it's not so nice. It's at a funeral, and but to have a celebration like that and was just tremendous. And the game itself, Tom and I always believe this, and we'll believe this to the time we're never coaching. He's never going to coach again. The Poland Canfield game is not determined by coaches. It's determined by, the people on the field and what they do in those 48 minutes. It's not the coaches, it's not the name on the field, anything like that. And but to coach a game against your brother on your dad's field, your mom there, it was pretty special.
We're out of time, but real quick, I have to throw it at you because people are going to ask me, what are you going to ask him? You're going to coach again sometime.
Well, you never say never.
You never say never.
Right, but
the New England Patriots job is open. So
no thanks.
There
No, but you never say never. But
for now,
right now, there's. If I was going to coach football, I'd be the head coach at Canfield High School.
Right, for sure. I can't thank you enough for your time here today and all the help that you offered to us in our broadcasts over the years, and it was just a privilege for me to get to know you and cover your games, your teams, and I can't thank you enough.
Jim, thank you. Thank you for professionalism and your friendship. I really enjoyed the last 23 years with you.
My pleasure, for sure. Mike Pavlansky. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this. Well, that's going to do it for our show. Thanks so much again to Coach Mike Pavlansky. Definitely with a place on the Mount Rushmore of local high school football coaches for sure. Thanks, Coach. Thanks as always, Greg Groten. Great to see you, Greg, and all you guys. You can catch us on YouTube. Go to Armstrong Loose Change. All you have to do. We'll catch you next time right here. Yeah, we will on Loose Change. Greg, do you have any Zeno left?